Hello lovelies, and welcome to my channel, and welcome back if you are returning. Now my name is Candy, and today I am bringing you a catch up on everything that's going on in my practice and with my tarot and witchcraft and art and life in general for a September happy. So what happened in September? So the biggest thing, of course, that happens every September is the kids went back to school. They're all too old now to show you going back to school photos, but this was a big one this year because Tilly started at college, so that was big in September, and Poppy also is going into her very last year of sixth form, so she is in the process of looking at what university she wants to apply for. This is her basically last year at home, so I am holding on to every long school drive and school run into Stratford every day with absolute joy. I'm soaking every second up. It is just magical, I think, knowing that the clock is ticking down to a massive change and Poppy leaving. Oh my gosh, every Taylor Swift song we sing in that car is like a treasure. It really is a treasure. So all three kids back at school in September. The madness of the summer holiday came to a close, and we're trying to get back into routine through September. So September is also the month where all the drawing lists drop for things like Inktober or things like Mab Graves's Draw-a-Line or any drawing challenge, which often happens, well, they mostly happen in October. All the lists get dropped early at the start of September to give people a chance to prep and to make plans for October drawing challenges. It's like a really busy time of year for sort of online artists who want to take part in all these challenges, and thousands of people do. So if you're an artist and you've never heard of Inktober or Draw-a-Line, go and check them out. Mab Graves, you can find her on Instagram, that's where you'll find her. So of course I started thinking about, am I going to take part in October? Spoiler, I'm doing Draw-a-Line. I didn't get to do much prep, but what I did do throughout September, once the kids were back at school, I started really tidying my art studio. I also spent time not only tidying but bringing my spiritual practice into the art studio. So let's talk about taking spirituality into the art studio first in September, because it was a beautiful part of September for me. Now, I built this altar I think a year ago now. You can see it's got homage to Bridget on there. It's also got homage to, say, nature and the fae, because it's right next to the garden, my art studio. Also Frida Kahlo. Now what I was doing, I was pulling one of those Frida Kahlo playing cards every single day in the morning with my morning coffee, as well as an oracle card every week. It was just so lovely. Also at night I was using my mini box altar, which was sent to me by the wonderful Carrie, and I was doing some sort of meditation scrying work with candles, which has also been a big part of September. Witchcraft, doing work with candles, doing work under candlelight, like looking in the mirror. For this mini altar work I've been using my Harry Potter playing cards. So it's been a month with more cartomancy in there, like using playing cards, and a lot more spiritual work, meditation, candle work, oracle work in my art studio. And to be honest, it's brought like a feeling of life and spiritual energy into my art studio. The art studio lit up with these lanterns and candles at night has just been glorious. And these mini box altar items, oh my gosh, they have been really profound to work with. I've also been using the little tiny mini Fae deck on this sort of toy castle as a tarot sort of stand. So I put the toy castle on like a little mini easel, and I've been doing like other spreads using this little Fae deck. Oh my gosh, it has been so wonderful in there. So let me show you those decks. So this is the Frida Kahlo playing card deck. It is by antic.com. I don't know if you can see that on there. I just found it on Amazon, and I did try to go back and order a second copy when I realised how good it was. So those are the backs. When I realised that it had like actual art, Frida's artwork, and it was different on every single card, I did go back to Amazon, and I did try to order a second copy as a backup for me or for journaling around, and copies for friends as well. Couldn't find them again, so I don't know whether they were just temporarily out of stock and whether they will come back in. Am I going too fast? Look at that. I love Frida's work. I love her whole story. Her whole story is incredible, roller coaster-ish. It synchronises with a lot of my story and some of the more unbelievable aspects. I've got a print of this painting. She's just the most incredible character, very tragic in many ways, but just amazing. So to pull a card a day on my Frida altar, and just to kind of find out like a message from Frida, that has been really lovely to start putting into my practice. Now the oracle card one a week is this Art Oracle. It's by Lawrence King Publishing. I know that they do like the film version of this. This is the artist version, so it's just nice to pull a message and have an artist for the week along with the Frida cards daily. It's just been really lovely to do. Like Georgia O'Keeffe, let's see what Georgia has to say. Nature can keep a secret. Keep Freud guessing. You can run away from yourself, but running away from others can be quite productive. I love that. These are the backs of this oracle. So this wasn't a deck that was getting a lot of use, to be honest, but to bring it into the art studio, it just made so much sense to me, and I've loved it. I've really loved it. So those two decks are going to stay in play. Now the Harry Potter playing cards, these I just picked up in like a tiny little sort of value bookshop here in the UK, and it's all photos of scenes from Harry Potter. And I think when you know the books and the films so well, to get not only the cartomancy meanings of whatever card you pull, but also the energy of the character as well. This is a great way of getting messages, and again, it's been something that I have really enjoyed using. But I've used this, like I say, with my magic mirror, which is like the mirror in Harry Potter, and then I have been using this little box. Now this is a little mini travel altar of things that Carrie sent me. I'll link Carrie's channel, and the way they land, it all works together to create different stories. So you can get endless stories based on the way these land. And when Carrie sent them to me through the post, I just knew that it would be really magical to use, and it's really proven to be magical. the pieces like sort of grabbed and dropped down along with one of the Harry Potter cards, and then the mirror placed amongst it somewhere to scry and to look at the reflection of the things to see if the messages change. Mini mirrors for doing that, for scrying into and placing around, say, charms, just to see the message from different viewpoints. It's almost like doing that. It's just been brilliant. I've loved it. So let me show you the art studio setup. So this is my altar. Let's just turn the lights on. I just love all these fairy lights. I love them. I have actually moved the Frida cards. I've hung them up over here just so I'm not constantly knocking them off trying to get into those little cubes. But look at this. Look, these are flowers that my kids do me. They don't have the money to buy me flowers, so they'll often make me flowers. Poppy's been learning to crochet and she's been crocheting me flowers. Busby made me this flowers of truth with little Busby bee on there. Isn't it gorgeous? I love you. You are loved. You are loved. I love you. And inside I can pick a flower, he said, whenever I want one. Let's go for the blue one. And it's got a flower of truth on there. Don't stop smiling. You deserve happiness. Things like that. And you are enough. And what else? You inspire me. And the one that looks more cactusy has got on there, you deserve the world. This is what my kids are like, guys. This is what they're like. How did I ever get so lucky in life? So I've put that up there just to remind me every single time I come into my studio that I am the luckiest woman alive. But I brought you down really to show you the Fairy Tarot. This is the tiny little one, and I've just grabbed the Earth Alchemy Oracle. This is new to me, this Earth Alchemy Oracle, and I hadn't opened it, and I suddenly thought, what a shame that the garden's now going, but wouldn't this be nice to use through winter? Possibly down here, just to remind me that the garden's not gone. And I also wanted to show you where I have been placing it. So this castle was in with all my art supplies. It's really cool. I love it. Door opens if you need the door to open. And I've just got this desktop easel to lean it back so the cards don't just drop off the front of it. You can use something like this for almost like a tarot spread if you wanted. You could put cards by the door and say what doors need to open, or what's closed to you, or what's open to you. What do you need to look out for from like the turrets? What needs protecting? You can see what I mean. Like, what's the higher ground? What's the low ground? What's subconscious? What's unconscious? You could use positions like this. What's the next step, or what was in the past, what's in the future? So there's lots of different positioning on something like this that you could use as just a really funky, fantastic tarot card holder, which is what I've been doing. Like I say, I've been using the Fairy Tarot. This is great because it's so tiny, so it fits nicely. Oh, so look at these. I think these might just be exactly the type of energy that I need in my art studio during winter. Oh yes, I like these two together. Not that this, guys, is a deck pairing video. For goodness sake, my Happy's videos are always so super long. I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's just to show you what's going on in my mind, in my practice, and literally this is all still ongoing. But yeah, I like this idea. It keeps me thinking about the garden as something living while I go through winter, because goodness knows my garden needs some attention. But also, along with this, I brought you down because next to my desk there is this little computer desk which is just full of stuff, and there's a pull-out drawer. On that drawer is a a whole load of these sort of fairy creatures and sort of story time characters. I've got more, but they're in my doll room at the moment, so normally this is rammed full. And like little fae as well. A lot of these were from, well, all of these are what my kids played with them when they were little. Of course they don't want them anymore, so I'm not going to throw them out, there's no way. So what instead I do, once I pulled the fairy cards, I will mix these up, and without looking, I'm not looking now, I will pull a character to stand next to the reading, and just to add in an extra voice. And oh boy, it's been so fun. It's made me not be able to wait to get into the art studio to work, just because I can pull like a day's spread, or if I get a question about artwork, I might pull a spread, or if something pops into my mind, I might pull a spread with a little story character on a fairy castle. What is not to love? So you can see in here, this was a crime mess. That's a crime mess already, because I'm working in here at the minute. It's a constant battle to keep this studio clean, but I went through all of these boxes and labelled them and sorted them out, and that's been fantastic. And I also went on a mission to save the house plants that were in here, because I'd forgotten about them, and this was literally, I thought it was dead, but within a month, look at it now, it's come right back to life. I'm so pleased about that, along with all the other ones which are currently on the kitchen windowsill, so that was wonderful. So I've put the light on. I think I was kind of disappearing into darkness. So what else did I do in the art studio once it was tidy? Well, I've been doing I think I did a video on this in September. I've been doing a lot of grimoire exploration of liminality. It grabbed me in August and it carried on through September. Just a fascination with what liminality could be, what it had been for me in my life, what it continues to be, of paths through the liminal, charting my own liminal journey, and then revisiting some places where I felt that I dropped parts of me at doorways to the liminal. I did a video about returning to my old childhood home, where I spent very, very early childhood, like under 7, spending hours sitting at the end of our garden on a wall that my legs would dangle down in amongst gravestones, because there was a graveyard right the other side of our garden wall. I shared that story and how moving and impactful that was, and how I'd asked for my inner child to give me something really obvious by the base of that wall, to show me if she wanted to return home here with me. And when I got there, there was an orange ball which I brought home, and it was just amazing. And I've set it in what is now turning into an apothecary for nostalgia, and I want to show you that now. So this cabinet, this writing bureau, is to the side of me as I'm filming. You can see I've got some of my witchy dolls up there, and here I've got dolls from my past that I've rebought. This was an ornament I used to have in my childhood bedroom, which I found in a charity shop, the exact one. And here are some of the toys that I have been rebuying to reclaim that past, and to kind of reroute myself. Now this is the beautiful orange ball that I brought home with me. I actually took Blue Boy, who was my main toy when I lived in that house. I carried Blue Boy around with me everywhere, and when we left that house at 7 years old, he never reappeared. None of these toys, like Pinky White or my Brownie doll or Blue Boy, none of them seemed to make the move. Whether they didn't get packed, I don't know. But I'm reclaiming them slowly. But when I went to visit the graveyard, I took Blue Boy with me, and so Blue Boy is holding the ball now. When I got home, I actually used this self-care wisdom cards, which are really beautiful, to pull a card for like little mini me that came home in the orange ball. And don't you know, look at the card that I pulled. change course, and it's the only card in the entire deck, and I know because I checked, that has a wall on it. It has a garden wall. Can you even catch your breath? But the gate to the garden wall is shut and locked, and to get out of that garden you would have to climb over the wall to get 3 keys. But do we even want to go back, because it's telling us to change course? And the garden outside looks beautiful. Look, there's flowers in there. And when I saw this card, I got really emotional, because, guys, the synchronicity of that, the fact that it's the other side of a wall. There are 3 keys, and I have 3 children in a garden full of pink roses, and the message is change course. Don't you think that little mini me that came home in that orange ball did decide to change course and come home to the 3 golden keys, a door that would always be open? We'd never have to try and jump walls and climb trees to get keys to let us in. So I loved that. It brought in past me, it brought in my 3 kids, it brought in the beauty of where I am now, and it just seemed such a beautiful message. So that's lived up there with the orange ball for the rest of September, and honestly it's been so touching, along with the soil and stones that I got, and my little mini me bell that I found on the drive home. Oh, I have loved it. So new decks that came to me in September, going around that idea of the liminal, I ordered purposefully for that the Tarot of the 78 Doors, which is a Los Scarabeo deck. I got it super cheap on eBay. The thing that struck me was the one thing about my old house that was still the same were the blue middle gates, and the back of the card just reminded me of it. So this is all kind of doorways or keys. Again, look, the key, with the key on that oracle card I pulled. There's so many synchronicities here. This is all to do with thresholds, which is what liminal, the word liminal is based on, the idea of the threshold. So a deck full of 78 doorways. When I'm exploring the liminal, it just seems so perfect, and I'm really loving it. So I've used this in September in my liminal space and liminality studies, which I still am totally fascinated by it. I really am. So this also, as you can see here, depicts sort of state shifts, so emotional and state shifting liminal spaces as well, and it's just been great. So that's been a new deck which I used in September. Also, I opened this one in September, the Gorgon's Tarot, which I've not really used much, but I am going to share it because I'm really excited to use it. It's massive. It's way bigger than I thought it was going to be. I know I think there's a smaller version, but I did want the bigger version. I did know I was getting the bigger version, but I wasn't quite prepared for just how big this was. The opening unboxing video I did for this, I've really enjoyed doing, because I kind of did a sort of adventure unboxing where I used a trip out to add to the unboxing, which was really fun. I really enjoyed putting that video together, even if it did take an absolute age, guys. But this has been a new deck as well, so there's been new decks in September, which is always really lovely. Not just new decks, but new places to visit as well, or if not completely new places that I haven't been to for years and years. So Tilly, one weekend while Busby and Poppy were hard away studying, Tilly really wanted to go out for the day, so me and Tilly went on just a girls' day out, and I took her to a place called Avoncroft Museum, which is only just down the road from me, and it's a place where they have found like really historical, important buildings that are about to be lost to time, and they've took them down and rebuilt them all at Avoncroft, which is so my bag. Like, history held within buildings is totally what I am fascinated and love. You can just feel the energy. So I said to Tilly, well, let's go to Avoncroft. When we got there, we had no idea that there was going to be a medieval fair on there for the day. If we hadn't have had our disabled badge, we wouldn't even have been able to have parked. There was one disabled bay left, thank goodness. When we got out the car, all the cannons were going off, so Tilly refused to move because it was too loud. So the staff there was so kind. They went and checked when the cannons were going to stop and when they were going to start again, and we had about 2 hours. So she was fine then. We went in and we had a look round all the buildings. Oh my gosh, the buildings were incredible. And we spoke to all the people that were there for the medieval weekend. It was a number of reenactment societies that all come together every year for this weekend at Avoncroft Museum, and the people there were absolutely gorgeous. We had the most gorgeous picnic underneath a tree and just had the best day ever. And Tilly even wanted to have a little go at filming for you guys, so here we go. So the decks I used, the first week of September, you can see I was using the Luminous Void with the second deck of the Mind's Eye Tarot. Both of these I felt were brilliant for me to continue exploring liminality. I also put the Cantor G Oracle with these two tarot for my week ahead spread. Of course, the Cantor G Oracle is the same creator, the same artist, and look, it looks wonderful. I did sort my tarot trolley out, which I did a video of, and I've paired them, swapped it all out for autumn, which is really fun. The Raven's Prophecy Tarot, one of the most autumny decks, I think. It feels cozy, it feels warm. I was dying to work with it. Alongside, look, the orange edge made me think about this deck is the Tree Whisper Oracle, so that came out, and I paired it with the Light Visions Tarot in a Tin. Now this is new to me and I love it. I love it so much. This was part of that deck swap that I did with Sandra. We swapped a number of decks, and I have loved this. Let me show you these together. So these three together just had the most just gorgeous feeling about them. There's something about this sort of maroony, sort of deep plum with the orange, and then with the stark leafless trees of the Tree Whisper Oracle. I've really enjoyed it, guys. It just felt cozy, it felt super warm, it just felt completely perfect for this time of year, and the messages together I loved. So I worked with this this trio, to be honest, as a trio for a whole week, and it really did not disappoint. It's definitely going to be a trio I come back to. It's definitely earmarked as a great combination for this time of year, and I loved it. So the backs of the Raven's Prophecy looks like that. The back of this one is like that. Yeah, loved this combo. And then week 3 hit, and I decided to open a gift that my wonderful friend Shannon had sent me completely unexpectedly through the post. It's this beauty, guys, the Heartwood. I can honestly say I am so blown away by this beautiful deck. I don't think I've heard anybody say they don't love it, and that's for a very good reason. It is absolutely stunning. It's all of these creatures and all this magic that's inside this abandoned house in the middle of the woods, which you see in the Fall card, and it's just beautiful, guys. It's so lovely to work with. So I did a deck interview with it, and then I spent a week working. And you know me, for pairing decks, I normally pair every single thing I work with, but I just could not bring myself to put anything with this for a week. It just felt like standalone awesome. Not even the Thistledown Oracle I didn't want to put with it, which I also own. But this deck, it's blown me out of the water. I've loved every reading, every card, every time I pick it up and just look at it. Everything about it I absolutely adore. So talk about a gift. Oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. So beautiful. When the last week of September hit, I just could not face putting it away, so it stayed out, but I kind of bit the bullet and tried different decks with it. Guys, it was really hard to find a deck that I wanted to put with it, because it is just so darn beautiful. But because with my week ahead spreads, which are my key focus for my tarot practice, I try and go for a slightly more pippish deck for the second deck. And look what I decided to go with. Again, it's got animals in, but it's a lot more pippish. And I trialed the Heartwood with so many different decks, it wasn't even funny, and I just couldn't bear it with them. I just wanted to leave it. The minute the Wild Unknown came into the mix, I thought, that's it, that's working for me. And I've worked with it. I love that Empress card so much. The minute I put that one in the mix, I just loved it. It's read really nicely as well. I know it's totally different artwork, but I often like that for the second deck, the way I work with my week ahead spread. I like to get something a little less pictorial in the mix. So that has been really fantastic to find that pairing. But then I wanted an oracle deck, and could I find an oracle deck? Absolutely not. And then a deck that I've almost given away quite a number of times because I just couldn't get on with it. The Divine Musings Oracle suddenly jumped into my mind. Now you can see I've taken it out of its original bag, just because that original bag was so tight and so zipped up on it. I thought that it was possibly that was giving me claustrophobia every time I looked at this deck. So I put it in this bag, but that still didn't help. And what it is this deck has got kind of like a sort of art effect, like a wash to age the deck, but it kind of looks like this sort of mossy green wash over the images. And that, guys, was triggering my claustrophobia. Even changing the bag didn't help. I was getting like claustrophobic panic attacks every time I tried to touch the deck, because it felt like it was like sort of under moss. And then I had an aha moment. I thought, oh my gosh, it's been waiting for the cottage. It's been waiting for the cottage of the Heartwood. These are the pictures that were left either in picture frames or in drawers that have become slightly covered in moss, because they're part of the Heartwood cottage. They're the pictures that if you're walking around the cottage and exploring, which we are when we're using this deck, you will find on the mantle. And that was it. I just had this aha moment that it's just been waiting, this deck, for the cottage to arrive. And the minute I thought that, I ran to the drawer and I grabbed the Divine Muses out of the drawer and I put it together, and there's no claustrophobia. It's just like another visual added element to the Heartwood cottage. It's the pictures, it's the picture frames, it's the picture albums, it's the pictures in drawers of that abandoned woodland cottage. And I cannot tell you how much I love that. And I also cannot tell you how pleased I am now that I didn't get rid of the Divine Muses. I've always loved the images and I've always loved the deck, but I just couldn't break that feeling of claustrophobia. I've never had it with a deck before, and I think it was just waiting for the cottage. It just didn't want me to work with it until its home arrived. Oh my gosh, I literally could weep saying that, because it just feels so strongly that that is what's happened here, that I feel like they were bonded pairs that were separated, and one was waiting for the other. And I love it. Other things that spring to mind that were just wonderful: I took the kids out for lunch twice in the month, which is a real treat for us. One of those times was after the cinema, so I took all the kids to go and see Inside Out 2, and oh my goodness, I loved it. I very rarely love a sequel more than the original film, but I loved it more than the original film. I just thought it was wonderful, and the kids all loved it too, which was wonderful. And then we had a lovely lunch out afterwards. So that was sort of viewing. That's kind of been all the viewing I've done, to be honest. Was at the cinema, one film, so that's it. Reading, I'm still working my way through Buckland's complete book of Witchcraft. Absolute classic. Still haven't finished it. Haven't stuck to a chapter a day, which is what I wanted to do. Just didn't manage it, so that's still being read. I'm trying to read some of those classics to kind of build my landscape of witchcraft around me. I also finished this book, The Witches' Ways in the Welsh Borders. So this is the marshland witches, the cunning folk of the marshlands, which is where the Wye Valley and Herefordshire meets the Welsh border, which is where I grew up. I grew up just outside Hay-on-Wye. So this was really fascinating to read, and it does make me want to go back and revisit some places and take you guys with me and show you how magical this part of England is. So I've had to let Luna back in. She was crying outside the door. I'd made the biggest mistake of closing the bedroom door on her, which she just can't stand. So I think that's kind of everything for September. I haven't been back at the caravan. It's just been settling back in at school, to be honest, and the kids needing to be here for work. And I have been poorly, as you can still hear. Busby was poorly as well. We've had this like horrible cough that's dragging on and on and on. So there's been a bit of poorliness as well, but it's just been very magical. It's been full of art, which I love. It's been full of a new sense of I don't know, just hope and excitement for the future. I think I was in a slump for quite a while, to be honest, and I feel like it's kind of lifted. Perhaps, do you know what it might be? It might be going back to and getting mini-me. I feel a bit more whole and complete. So mental health wise, it's been fantastic. So you can't ask for anything more than that, can you? Happy dogs, happy kids, and feeling fine mentally. I think that's just a lot to ask for. So I've had a really good September. So guys, October's here. It's so exciting. I really feel a call to my witchcraft practice. You will see there are more witchcraft videos going up on my channel, more art as well, because we're in October, which is all about drawing challenges. I am not dropping tarot. I want to just mix it all up a little bit more and talk about more like magical living. And I was split over a number of channels for a while, but I just can't do it. And I think my magic comes from layering things anyway. So I think it's a disservice to the community that I'm hopefully building here, and you wonderful lot, if I do split it. So I'm kind of bringing it back together. So if you see like slightly different videos on here, then you know it all hopefully all makes sense in the end. So thanks guys so much for listening to me talk about September. I hope yours was great too. Moving forward in October, can I just send a wish out overseas that everybody that has been affected by the hurricane overseas, we've watched it play out here in the UK in horror, and I just hope that everybody finds a very fast and supported and as peaceful as possible way back to calm and peace and normality. So with that said, thanks guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.